Okay.
श्री भीष्म स्तुति की जय। इतिमति रूपकल्पिता विकृष्ण भगवती साद्वत पुण्डवे विभूमि स्वसुखमुपगते क्वचिद् विधर्तुम् प्रकृतिमुपेयुषि यद्भव प्रवाह त्रिभुवनकमनं तमालवरणं रविकरगौरवराम्बरं दधाने वपुरलककुला वृताननाब्जं विजयसखेरतिरस्तु मे अनाव्या युदितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्व कचलुलिताश्रमणार्वयाङ्घ्रितास्ये मम निशितशरैरविभिद्यामान् त्वचिविलस्तावचेऽस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा सपदि सखिवचो निशाम्य मध्ये निजपरयोर्बलयोरतं निवेशयम् स्थितवति परसैनिकायुराकृष्ण हितवति पार्थ सखेरतिर्ममास्तु व्यवहितप्रीतना मुखं निरीक्ष्य स्वजनवदाद्विमुखस्य दोषबुधाय कुमतिमहरदात्मविद्ययाय सचरणरति परमस्य तस्मै अस्तु स्वनिगममपहाय मत्प्रतीज्ञा मृतमधिकर्तुमवाप्तु रथस्थ ऋततरतरचरणोऽभ्ययाचलद्गु हरिरिव हन्तुमिभं गतोत्तरीया शीतविशिखहतो विशीर्णदंश क्षतजपरिप्लुता तयोनिमे वृषभमभीषसार्मध्वधातम् स भवतु मे भगवान् गति मुकुन्द विजयरथकुतुमाततोते धृतः यरश्मिनितश्रिये क्षणीये भगवती रतिरस्तु मे मुमूर्षो यमिह निरीक्ष्य हतागता स्वरूपम् ललितगतिविलासवर्गुहासा प्रणयरनिरीक्षणा तोरुमाना कृतमनुकृततगत्यो मन्दान्दा प्रकृतिमगन् किल लक्ष्य गोपवद्वा मुनिगणनृपावर्यसङ्कुले अन्त सदसि युधिष्ठिरराजसूय एषाम् अर्हनमुपपेदईक्षणीयो मम त्रिशिगोचर एष आविरात्मा तमिममहमजं शरीरभाजम् हृदि हृदि धीष्ठितमात्मकल्पितानां प्रतिदाशमिव नैकधार्कमेकम् समधिगतोऽस्मि विभूतभेदमोहः।
Bhismastuti ki jai.
Jai.
Beautifully done. Thank you so much, Karuna.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very good. So we should read the English. Rianch, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you can read the English, okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can you wait 1 second?
So you can read the English here of this Bhishma Stuti.
Okay, Prabhuji. I devoting my intellect at this final time of my life at the feet of the infinite Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, which has been purified exhaustively through various spiritual endeavors and is free from all desires. The Supreme Being who continually remains situated in his glorious nature and also accepts nature with the desire of doing pleasures from which the tradition of creation remains. May I develop guileless love for Arjuna's friend, Lord Krishna, whose body is as beautiful as the three worlds, and hue is dark like a Tamil tree. He who wears yellow garments that shine like the rays of the sun and has beautiful curly hair on a lotus-like face. In the battlefield, I remember that scene when my sharp arrows were piercing your skin, when your lotus face situated the drops of sweat and your curly hair had become dirty from the blowing dust of the horse's blinkers. May my body, conscience, and soul surrender to such a handsome and armored Lord Krishna. May I develop guileless love for Arjuna's friend, Lord Krishna.
Same again. What's wrong?
And hue is dark like a Tamil tree. He who wears yellow garments that shine like the rays of the sun and has beautiful curly hair on a lotus-like face. love remained strong at the divine feet. The Supreme Being Lord Krishna, who destroyed the attachment of Arjuna by enlightening him by preaching the Gita when Arjuna had turned away from the battle due to the fear of committing a sin of killing his king's flock. On seeing us on the opposite side of the army, that taken an oath that I will ensure that Sri Krishna lifts a weapon to fulfill my promise and prove it to be better. Lord Krishna broke his oath of not lifting a weapon during the Mahabharat war. At that time, he jumped off the chariot and ran towards me with the wheel of a chariot like a lion charges towards an elephant to kill an elephant. He ran so fast that the cloth on his shoulder fell and the earth began to tremble. Blood was flowing from his body as the gangster, has broken his shield with my sharp arrows, and he forcefully continued to charge towards me despite Arjuna trying to stop him. Despite being so ruthless, you were still affectionate towards me, your devotee. May my shelter be you, Lord Krishna. May I at my deathbed develop supreme love for the charioteer of Arjuna, Lord Krishna, who not only looked beautiful, protecting the chariot of Arjuna with the horses' reins in one hand and a whip in the other, but also proved salvation to those brave soldiers who saw this image of yours whilst dying. The gopis who were respected by Lord Krishna with a loving glance, sweet smile, loving gestures, and beautiful walk became engrossed in you, discussing your Leela's pastimes with utmost devotion. When you disappear during the Rasa Leela, may my love develop in the Lord Krishna. During Yudhishthir's Rajasuya Yagna, you were given utmost respects and worshipped in front of my eyes in a senate filled with great rishis and kings. You Supreme Lord Krishna, everyone's soul is standing in front of me today during my time of death. As sun is known for its many forms from many views, similarly unborn Lord Krishna is many forms in the hearts of human created by himself. In reality, he resides in the conscience of every being. I have attained that Lord Krishna, having been liberated from all illusions and having known the supreme truth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Well done. Thank you so much. So, Indulekamaji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this virtual program today. I will start this, as we know, this week, this last week of November is the last week of Kartik and also Bhishma Panchak. The last 5 days of his life where Bhismadeva fasted even from water. To observe the fast of Bhishma Panchaka is very difficult. And I'm not going to go through that because Jayanti already done a lot or talk a lot on it. So I will just try to tell a little bit on Bhismadeva's life. I am not that qualified to talk about Bhismadeva, but still I will try to scratch a little bit of the surface. And as we all know that he is a center figure of the Mahabharata, and he was the grandfather of the Kurus and one of the pure devotees of the Lord, and he was a Mahajan. So I will start with the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandyaham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaisnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijina Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vichamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishnubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Harim Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhavaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, everybody once more. And can you hear me properly? Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Mataji.
Thank you.
We can
Thank
hear you well.
Thank you. So as I said today, we're going to talk about Bhismadeva a little bit. Bhismadeva was also known as Gangaputra, and he was well known for his pledge of celibacy. He pledged never to get married. And there is a big question there. Why did he fight on the unrighteous path side? So in this regard, Srila Prabhupada wrote very nicely, beautiful purport on this. Srila Prabhupada said, Bhismadeva, he was ready to be blamed, to be ridiculed, to be blasphemed and misunderstood, just to give pleasure to Krishna. And so in remembrance of Bhismadeva today, I'm seeking his blessings and mercy, and I will dedicate this class to him. On this, so I would like to start from the previous previous life of Bhismadeva. So Bhismadeva, once Lord Brahma, he performed a yajna in Brahmalok. And he invited all the great personalities. Among them were Ganga Devi personified, River Ganga, she was personified there. And she looked so beautiful in the assembly. There was also a king by the name Maha Abhishek sitting opposite her. And they both get attracted to each other. Lord Brahma, with his four heads, he could see what is happening around. He could see them being attracted to each other. So he cursed them. He cursed them, he told them to go down to Bhumandal, to Earth planet, so to enjoy each other's company, and then to come back. So Ganga Devi, she descended in her original body, and she remembered everything. But whereas King Mahabhishek, he appeared in the Kuru dynasty as the son of King Pratip, as King Santanu, and he forgot everything. He did not remember anything. So on the other hand, while Ganga Devi was cursed and she was coming down to this planet Earth, on her way, she met the 8 Vasus, who were also cursed by Vashishta Muni. And the Vasus, they are considered as demigod. They like fire, air, sun, moon, water, stars, sky, land, they are personified. So it's kind of a title given to them. All of them were roaming in the space with their wives. And they came across the ashram of Vashishta Muni. And there they found this cow, Kamdenu, wish-fulfilling cow. And Vashishta Muni, he was in samadhi. He was meditation, and his eyes were closed. So these Vasus, when they were roaming around, they saw this Kamdenu cow, and the older Vasu's wife, she asked her husband to get her the cow. She said, let's take the cow because it's a wish-fulfilling cow, so we can have it. So just to fulfill the desire of his wife, the elder Vasu, who was named Prabhas, he ordered his younger brothers to steal the cow. As they were taking the cow away, Vashishta Muni, in his samadhi, he could see what is happening. He opened his eyes and he saw them, and he cursed them. He said, "You are living in this planet here, and you are behaving like people living in the planet Earth. You're committing sins. So I curse all of you to go to planet Earth and just to repent for the sin that you have committed." So they got very scared. They all pleaded to Vashishta Muni to forgive them. And Vashishta Muni said, "I have already cursed, you have to go on the Bhumandal. But since you are asking for forgiveness, I will, the 7 of you, you will come immediately. But the 8th one who has orchestrated all this scheme, he will stay for a very long time on Earth planet. And he will be deprived from the association of women because he listened to his wife to commit this sin." So Vashishta Muni also blessed them that they could be born. They wanted to be born through a pious mother who can deliver them fast. So Vashishta Muni blessed them to be born from Mother Ganga. Out of his compassion, he said, okay, he already cursed them. So he said they will be born through Mother Ganga. So while coming down, they met Mother Ganga as she was coming down also, and they told her all their stories. And Mother Ganga promised to give them birth and to liberate them quickly from the material world. Now going back to the story of King Santanu and Ganga Devi. Once King Santanu was walking by the river Ganga, and there Ganga Devi appeared personified, because Ganga Devi had the mission to fulfill. She had to come down to get married to Santanu and to deliver the 7 Vasus. So, but she remembered everything, but King Santanu, he forgot. He didn't remember anything. And King Santanu, approaching Ganga Devi, proposed her to marry him. Ganga Devi accepted on 2 conditions. The first condition was that King Santanu will never question her of her actions. And second, he will never talk harshly to her. But King Santanu was thinking, what would my queen need? Maybe some jewelry, some clothes and things. I will not question him. He didn't know what is behind the conditions. So King Santanu accepted and they got married. And as time passed, they got 7 sons, one after the other. And every time a child is born, Ganga Devi will just take the newborn and drown the child in her own river. So the king was distraught, and he could not say anything because he was bound by his vow that he has taken. But when it came to the 8th son, then King Santanu could not tolerate anymore. King Santanu, he said, this is too much and all my children are being killed. It doesn't matter if I lose my wife. So he stopped her. He stopped her by saying, you cruel woman, you are killing your own newborns and you are putting in your own river, in the river, not on your own, because he didn't know that she was a Ganga personified. So Ganga Devi then revealed the truth about the 8 Vasus. And she also said that this last one, the 8 sons, he was cursed to stay for a longer time in this material world. So then Ganga Devi, she did drown the 8 Vasus, and King Santanu, and he said, now, because you have stopped me because you have questioned me. And for this, my time has come to leave you now, because you have broken your vow. So it's time for me to leave you and go. And I'm going back to the heavenly planet. So the king told her that he takes a child with her, since she's going to the heavenly planet. There, the child could get knowledge from devtas and great saints. So the 8 Vasus were educated by many great sages like Brihaspati, Rishi Bhargav, and Lord Parshuram, who taught him about warfare. So many years passed by, and one day, while King Santanu was walking by the river Ganga, he saw something amazing. He saw the water flowing backward, and the king saw a young man shooting arrows into the river, and those arrows were not only blocking the flows of the water, but they were also forcing the water to flow backward. And King Santanu was amazed, and he questioned this young person about his abilities to perform such an incredible task. Then personified Ganga Devi appeared. Ganga Devi appeared personified and introduced this young person and as their 8 sons, who was blessed by the devtas, and his name was Devavrata, meaning one who is devoted to God. King Santanu was very happy to welcome his son, and Ganga Devi went back to the heavenly planet. The king proclaimed Devavrata as the future king. And so Devavrata took charge of the whole affairs of the kingdom, as he was very capable. So once a king by the name Salva attacked the kingdom, which was Hastinapur. Devavrata defeated King Salva and his whole army single-handed. He didn't need anyone's help. He shot arrows which could create fire, wind whirlpool, and torrential rain on the enemies. So he was very capable. Like this, everything was going fine in the kingdom of King Santanu. And King Santanu, he was like lonely because his wife was not there. Now he has his son, yes, but he needed company. So one day King Santanu went hunting, and he came across a river where a very beautiful young maiden was sitting in a boat. He was attracted by her fragrance. Because the fragrance that maiden had was very powerful fragrance. So he was attracted. So he approached that young person and proposed her to marry him. And since he knew that his wife Ganga would not be coming back, so the maiden's name was Satyavati. Satyavati told her that I don't have a problem in getting married to you, but it is up to my father to decide who should I marry. So the king went to ask her father, who was a chief of the fishermen. He agreed to the proposal on certain conditions, that the child born from Satyavati and the king would be the future king. But the king did not accept that, because the king said that he has already promised his eldest son to become king. So he was refused the hand of Satyavati, because he could not accept the son of Satyavati to become future king. King Santanu he could not accept that deal, because he had already proclaimed Devavrata as a future king. So he was dejected when he was refused the hand of Satyavati, and he went back. He became very morose, and he did not show any interest in his life. So Devrata got worried seeing his father like sad all the time. He asked all the ministers what was happening, but nobody could tell. Then he approached the charioteer, and the charioteer revealed that King Santanu was refused the hand of Satyavati. So in this way, because the charioteer would take him everywhere, so he knew where he had been. So Devavrata asked the charioteer to take him to the fisherman, and there he promised the fisherman that he would allow the child born from the king and Satyavati to become the future king. But the fisherman was not satisfied. The fisherman said that now you're telling me all this, but one day your children can claim the crown. They can claim to be king. So what will my daughter do at that time? So Devavrata, he took another vow. First he said, I'm not going to take to be king. I will let your grandson be king. Now the fisherman was not satisfied. He said about your children. Then Devavrata, he took the vow of celibacy. He said, I will never get married. And he took all the devtas as from the sky as witness. And he shouted that I will remain celibate whole life. And in this way, all the demigods, they were showering flowers on him and they were calling Bhishma, Bhishma. And in this way, from that day, he got the name Bhismadeva. And finally, the fisherman consented to the marriage. Bhismadeva, he took Satyavati to his father. Then he revealed to his father about his decision of renouncing the throne. King
Mataji,
Santanu.
just a quick
Sorry.
question. Sorry to
Yes.
disturb you.
Yes.
What does Bhishma mean?
Bhishma mean like tapasya, I think.
Yes, you're right. I think it's something like terrible vow or something. You know,
Yes,
terrible
yes,
vow.
it's a terrible tapasya that he's taking. He's taking this vow that nobody has taken before.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and then when he took Satyavati to his father, and he revealed his decision of renouncing the throne. Now King Santanu, he was sad and he was happy at the same time. Happy because he could marry Satyavati, sad because his young son has taken the vow to remain celibate all life. And he blessed his son to Ichamrityu, to leave his body whenever he wishes. That he could leave as long as he want, and then leave his body whenever he wanted. Now Satyavati also had a past. She had a past life, and as she was the daughter of a fisherman, her job was to take people across the river, and she had the smell of fish, and her name was Matsya Ganda. That means the smell of fish, right? And one day, a great sage by the name of Parasar Muni appeared on the boat, and she was rowing the boat. Parasar Muni was talking nicely to her and explaining that the Lord wanted to appear in this world through him, and that he needed a female body for that purpose. He wanted to use Matsyagandha as a medium. And that incarnation of the Lord, who the Lord wanted to appear, so Parasar Muni, he pleaded to Satyavati. Satyavati, she accepted. And when she accepted, in this way, Vyasadeva took his birth. And from her, within minute, Vyasadeva grew to be a young man, and telling both his parents that he was going to meditate on the Lord in the forest, and whenever they needed him, they just had to think about him. He would appear in front of them. And so this incarnation of the Lord is a literary incarnation, Vyasadeva. right? So because of the place and circumstance that he took birth, he is also called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Dvaipayana, like on an island. And Krishna because he was bluish. And Vyasa because he is going to write all the
Dvaipayana.
yes,
Dvaipayana.
yes. And so we will see later in the Bhagavatam, his son also does the same thing. Sukadeva Goswami, when he was born, he just ran away from home, not even talking to his parents. And Vyasadeva was running after him. So then here, Parasar Muni, he blessed Satyavati, Matsyagandha at that time. He blessed her, and all this fish odor went just turned into beautiful fragrance, and she became very radiant. And Vyasa Muni, he also blessed her that she could be married later, and she had this nice fragrance, and because and he named her Satyavati. And because she sided to the truthfulness, both Satyavati and Parasar Muni were used as instruments. They were not propelled by lust, because the Lord wanted to appear through them. So they were pure, and Parasar Muni blessed Satyavati so that later she could get married. And Satyavati then married King Santanu, and they had 2 sons. When they had these 2 sons, King Santanu, he was not like too well, and leaving the 2 young sons in the hands of Bhismadeva, he left his body. But before leaving his body, Bhismadeva, he promised his father that he was going to personally take care of his younger brothers, and that he would always protect the future king. Whoever ascended the throne, he was going to protect them. So as promised, Bhismadeva took care of both brothers, and even when they reached the age of marriage, he even chose a bride. So when time came for both his brothers to get married, he went to Kasi and he kidnapped 3 princesses during their Swayamvar. So these 3 princesses were Amba, Ambalika, and Ambika for his brothers. But Amba was already in love with a king named Salva. When Bhismadeva learned about it, Bhismadeva sent her back to Salva, but Salva refused to accept her. He sent her back to Bhismadeva. So Amba came back, and Amba asked Bhismadeva to marry her because he abducted her when she was about to get married. So Bhismadeva didn't yield to it. Bhismadeva said, I have the vow of celibacy, I cannot marry. So Amba was, she was very annoyed because she was rejected by both sides. So Amba, she decided to go to see Parshuram, who was a guru of Bhismadeva. So when when she went there, Bhismadeva, what's his name? Parshuram, he ordered Bhismadeva to marry Amba. And then Bhismadeva didn't yield to that because he didn't want to break his vow. So Lord Parshuram challenged him, Bhismadeva, for a fight, saying that if Bhismadeva was defeated, he would have to marry Amba. The fight was so fierce that Narad Muni had to come to stop them. He had to intervene. So Lord Parshuram admitted that Bhisma was very powerful because he himself taught Bhisma about the warfare. So he knew the capacity of Bhisma, and he could have won the fight. So Amba was really angry again, and she did severe austerities. She praying to Lord Shiva. She meditated for a long time on Lord Shiva. And when Lord Shiva appeared in front of her, she asked Lord Shiva to bless her so that she could kill Bhismadeva. Lord Shiva granted her the desired boon, and in this way, Amba left her body. In her next life, we will see that she was born as a eunuch, as a son of King Drupada, named Shikandi.
Dushtadumya.
No, Shikandi. Dushtadumya, yes, he came out of the fire, just like Draupadi. This one, he was born and named Shikandi. So during the Battle of Kurukshetra, we will see that he will be placed on the chariot of Arjuna. And when Bhismadeva saw him, Bhismadeva will he will know that he is Amba, and Bhismadeva will lay down his weapons, because the rule was that they will not shoot any woman on the battlefield. And Bhismadeva would be shot by Arjuna at that time. So Bhismadeva led a life of sacrifice all throughout his existence in the material world. He personally took care of Vichitravirya and Chitrangat, his two younger brothers. And Vichitravirya and both of them, unfortunately, they died very young and at very young ages, leaving the throne empty as they didn't have any children. So now Satyavati, he talked to Bhishma and he said, Bhishma, you have to marry these two girls, Ambalika and Ambika, because the throne is empty. So Bhismadeva said, no, I cannot do that because I have already promised to, this is my vow that I've taken, but you can call upon your son, Vyasadeva, because Satyavati has revealed to Bhismadeva that he has the son Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva came, the Mother Satyavati thought about him and he appeared in the palace. And he was called to impregnate the two daughters-in-law, Ambika and Ambalika, so that the dynasty could continue. So now that was common practice at that time. And because it was done through vision and prayers, it was not done by bodily union. So Vyasadeva came to the palace. He was an ascetic, leading an austere life in the forest, with long matted lock and beard, wearing a saffron robe. So first he went to see Ambika, and Ambika got scared. As you can see in the picture, Ambika just closed her eyes. And then Vyasadeva said that since you close your eyes, you will get a son will be born who will be blind. And Dhritarashtra was born. Then he went to Ambalika, who got scared too. And Ambalika, she, seeing Vyasadeva, she turned pale. So Vyasadeva asked, why are you so pale? Because she got scared. So Vyasadeva told her that you will get a son who will be pale. We'll call Pandu, meaning pale. Now, when she learned about all this that has happened, Satyavati was not happy. Satyavati was not satisfied. So they sent a maid servant. And this person, she was not scared and she was very respectable. And so Vyasadeva blessed her that she would get a son who will be very wise. And thus Vidura was born. He was
Mataji,
very wise. Yes.
I think what might have happened, just correct me if I'm wrong, is Ambika was, or the other one was asked to do it again, to let Vyasadeva again impregnate her.
Yes.
But she was really
she
not
sent the
liking.
maid, right?
She
Yes.
sent the maid. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Good, good.
Thank you, Babuji. So yes, and then Vidura was born there. So Bhismadeva, he took full charge of all three of them. He personally trained them in artillery and he cared for their well-beings. So when they grew up, Bhismadeva found suitable brides for them. Dhritarashtra was married to Gandhari, Pandu was married to Kunti, and Vidura was married to Sulabha. Pandu had two wives. The second wife was Madri. Sorry. Even being the younger son, the younger heir, Pandu was crowned king because Dhritarashtra was blind. But King Pandu, he was cursed by the sage Kindama, and he died at young age in the forest. Madri, the second wife, he gave up her life by sitting on the pyre of Pandu. It was called Sati. Nowadays, it doesn't happen. And Kunti, she was left with the 5 sons. Hare Krishna?
Madhuri's
Yes.
brother is Shalya.
Who is Shalya?
He's the charioteer of Karna.
But we are not there yet. No, it's not. Okay, so yes, Madri, she sat on the pyre of her husband, and Kunti was left with 5 sons. And after the funeral in the forest, the ceremony was done, Pandu ceremony was done. Then Kunti, she was accompanied by some sages and her 5 sons, and they went to the palace. Here again, it was Bhismadeva who took full charge of the Pandavas. He always protected them, knowing that Dhisaraj and his sons did not like them. Arjuna was his favorite, and Bhismadeva consented for Dronacharya to become the teacher of the royal princes. In the military skills, because Dronacharya showed some miracle that he did. He took some blade of grass and he took a bowl out of a well, where all the princes were very happy. And they asked Bhismadeva to allow him to be their teacher, martial art teachers. So that was a 4th generation that Bhismadeva took charge of. And as the story unfolds, we all know about the gambling match and about the Pandavas just being cheated, about Draupadi being disrobed by Dushashan. So, but the question is always asked here, why Bhismadeva did not stop Dushashan from disrobing Draupadi? Anybody can answer? So Bhismadeva, he was a great grandfather, the oldest in the assembly, and he was very powerful. He could have stopped it. It is said that if he had stopped the disrobing, we would not get to know about the surrendering process of Draupadi. Bhismadeva wanted to teach us about the glories of the Lord. He, in any circumstance, if we only surrender, then the Lord will definitely protect us. If one sincerely calls, the Lord will definitely protect us. Just like we can say Dhruv Maharaj, he surrendered and he attained the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj, and then Gajendra, and then he was saved from the attack of the crocodile. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, we get quite a few devotees like this, who just call out for the Lord, and they were protected. So here, as we see, Bhismadeva did not have an easy life. As promised to his father, he had to always protect whoever ascended the throne. Ultimately, he had to be on the side of the Kauravas, as Dhisaraj was the king. Pandu was not there, so only Dhisaraj was there. So eventually, the battle of Kurukshetra took place. And Bhismadeva had to fight on the side of the unrighteous. The righteous king was, Duryodhana proclaimed himself king, but he was not officially king. So in 2 places, Bhismadeva is misunderstood. 1, Draupadi being disrobed, and 2, Bhismadeva fighting against the righteous Pandavas. So what was the purpose of Bhismadeva acting in those ways? So in Draupadi's case, he wanted her to call out to Krishna helplessly, raising her hands up and shouting for Krishna. And the world saw what happened. And in the second, whenever the Lord is invoked sincerely, he will appear. And also Bhismadeva was put into confusion by the Lord, so that he could not act appropriately at that time. Bhismadeva fighting on the side of Duryodhana was just an excuse. He wanted to see the Lord face to face, because if he would fight on the side of the Pandavas, he would see the Lord's back only. He would be at the back. And he would Also, he was the only one present on the battlefield at that time who could satisfy the Lord, because with Viryaras, because he was the only one who could fight the Lord. So Lord Krishna enjoyed fighting with him. He was like chivalrous. He was very powerful. So every arrows he was shooting at the Lord was like offering flowers to the Lord. And the Lord accepted them happily. So when Duryodhana asked Bhismadeva to fight from his side and proclaim him as his general leader, Bhismadeva accepted on preconditions. And the first was he would not kill the Pandavas. The second, he would not shoot a woman on the battlefield. And third, he would not participate in the battle if Karna would be participating. So Karna was obviously not happy. Karna was like, he was angry, and Duryodhana had to pacify him. But Duryodhana thought that if he could win the battle, because Bhismadeva was blessed with the vow that he had the opportunity to leave his body whenever he wanted. He could not be killed. He would leave his body on his own whenever he desired. So Duryodhana thought that he was going to win the battle because of that. So on the 9th day of the war, Duryodhana went to see Bhismadeva and criticized him, accusing him of protecting the Pandavas and not fighting. So Bhismadeva was a great warrior, and he could not tolerate those insults. He was not happy hearing Duryodhana talking to him like that. And then he said, Duryodhana, I'm going to kill the Pandavas tomorrow. And he showed Duryodhana 5 arrows that he said, I'm going to use this to kill the Pandavas tomorrow. And Bhismadeva, Duryodhana said, okay, I don't trust you. So he took the 5 arrows and he went in his camp. And Bhismadeva told him, send your wife tomorrow morning so that I can bless her with a long married life. So now Krishna knew about this plan. And during the night, Krishna sent Arjuna. He said, go to Duryodhana camp and ask him for the 5 arrows, because Duryodhana owed Arjuna something. It happens that when they...
In the forest, he rescued Duryodhana from the Gandharvas.
Yes, I think one day we will have you giving a class, right? Yes, while the Pandavas were in exile in the forest, Duryodhana, he wanted to ridicule them. He went to the forest with his brothers and Karna, and he pitched a tent near the Pandavas camp. And then he was enjoying with women and wine and all. And Duryodhana abducted a Gandharva's woman, and the Gandharvas got angry. And they attacked Duryodhana, but Duryodhana and his party, they were too intoxicated to defend themselves. So Yudhishthira learned about it, and he sent Bhima and Arjuna to rescue them, to help them. So in this way, Duryodhana told Arjuna, ask whatever you want, I will give you. So Arjuna said, no, when the time comes, I will ask. So Krishna knew about it, and Krishna sent Arjuna and said, go and ask for those 5 arrows. And Duryodhana gave him. And the following morning, Lord Krishna, accompanied with Draupadi, went to Bhismadeva camp early in the morning, because Bhismadeva has told Duryodhana to send his wife so that he could bless her. But now when they were walking toward the camp of Bhismadeva, Draupadi's shoes were making noise, and Krishna stopped her. Krishna said, wait, give me your shoes. And Krishna got the bow shoes under his arms and told Draupadi to cover her head and pull her veil down so that to cover her face as well. And he instructed Draupadi, say, go in the camp inside and just pay your respect to Bhismadeva. And she went in, and Bhismadeva blessed her with a long married life. So then she opened her veil, and Bhismadeva knew that it was a plan of Krishna. And he went out. When he went outside of the camp, he saw that Krishna was standing there smiling. And Bhismadeva saw that he saw, first he saw that it was Duryodhana was, then he saw it was Draupadi, then he knew that is Krishna's plan. Then he went out and saw Krishna standing and smiling. And he said, then he told Krishna, and Krishna told him, Bhismadeva, which vow are you going to keep and which vow are you going to break? Because you told you're going to kill the Pandavas today and you just blessed Draupadi with a long married life. So which one are you keeping and which one are you breaking? So Bhismadeva, he smiled too, and he said, now I'm going to take another vow, the vow of making you, urging you to pick a weapon on the battlefield. That I'm going to do. Now, as we know, Krishna, he vowed not to lift any weapon on the battlefield and not to fight. So eventually on the battlefield, Bhismadeva fought so fiercely that he urged Lord Krishna to jump from the chariot of Arjuna and to pick a wheel of a broken chariot and run furiously toward Bhismadeva. As soon as Bhismadeva saw Krishna rushing toward him with a wheel in his hand, he dropped his weapons and raising both hands up, he said, Krishna, come and kill me. He told Krishna to come and kill me. So that particular fight was an exchange of transcendental love it was a pleasure between the Lord and his pure devotee. By such dealings, both the Lord and the devotee became glorified in their respective positions. Bhismadeva told Lord Krishna that his wishes were fulfilled because he wanted to see the Lord picking a weapon. So here we can see the picture, and Bhismadeva is ready to be killed by Krishna, but Krishna is not going to kill him. So it was the reciprocation of deepest love between the Supreme Personality of Godhead with one of his pure devotee. And from it, both derive the highest transcendental bliss. Here, Srila Prabhupada explained this encounter at Kurukshetra in chapter 9 of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he said, if we study this incident under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master who can take us to the reality that lies beyond appearance, we can begin to enter into the profound mysteries of the relationship between the Lord and his pure devotees. Here we can also see that Bhismadeva yearned to serve the Lord in a chivalrous way. He wanted to satisfy the Lord by fighting with him. Similarly, Lord Krishna was eager to be attacked by Bhismadeva. So as a Supreme Personality in everyone's heart, he caused Duryodhana to go to Bhismadeva, to approach Bhismadeva with an insulting accusation. The Pandavas were winning only because Bhismadeva, out of affection for them, was reluctant to attack. He was reluctant to attack them with his full prowess. He could have killed them the first day itself, but he didn't want to kill them. So Bhismadeva asked Krishna what happened to his vow that he had taken. He said that he would not lift any weapon. And we can see that Arjuna is holding Krishna's leg by telling Krishna, don't break your vow, don't lift any weapon. But Krishna replied to Bhismadeva that he does not care for anything when it comes to save his devotee's life. So meaning that that Krishna lifted weapon to save Arjuna. And at that time, conch-shells were blown to stop the fight for the day. And the following day, Bhismadeva fought ferociously again. But when he saw Shikhandi on the Arjuna's chariot, Bhismadeva laid his weapons down. And Lord Krishna, he instructed Arjuna to shoot Bhismadeva. Here, Bhismadeva was such a great soul that he even told Arjuna the secret how they could defeat him. That if they put a female on the chariot or in front of him, he would not fight. So Arjuna took that opportunity and they put Shikhandi, and Shikhandi was happy because he was waiting for that moment. And Bhismadeva knew that it was Amba. So then his body was, when Arjuna started shooting, his body was filled with arrows, with Arjuna's arrows. And Bhismadeva's body fell on the battlefield like a mountain crush, you know. All the warriors stopped fighting immediately. and they were shocked to see this grandsire's body lying on the ground. So everybody stopped fighting and everybody was shocked. As we all know, the Battle of Kurukshetra, it lasted for 18 days. But why did Bhismadev lie down on the arrows for so many days after the battle? So he had the power to leave his body at will, and his lying down on the bed of arrows was his own choice, right? And actually, he wanted to see the Pandavas victorious, as he had promised it to his father that he would instruct and support whoever would sit on the throne. So he wanted to wait and see the Pandavas happy. And he was waiting to impart all his knowledge about how to rule the kingdom to Yudhishthira. So after the battle was won by the Pandavas and Yudhishthira was crowned king, he lamented about how much life he was lost because of him, because of this kingdom. And so many sages went to pacify him, but they were not successful because Yudhishthira didn't want to listen to anyone. He was saying that he was responsible for all these women being widow, all these children being orphan, and all these battles taking place. So all the great sages, they could not pacify him. Even Krishna tried, but Krishna tried outwardly. Krishna didn't really want, Krishna wanted to glorify his pure devotee. So he suggested that Yudhishthira should go and see Bhismadeva for counseling. And that also all the 5 brothers, they should all go together, and they should all dress in most aristocratic order, so that Bhismadeva might be very pleased to see them at the end of his life. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 6 and 7, the names of the great personalities who went to see Bhismadeva lying on the bed of arrows are mentioned, such as Parvata Muni, Narad Muni, Dhaumya, Vyasadeva, Bharadwaj Muni, Lord Parasuram, who was a teacher of Bhismadeva and with whom he had a fight. And this is Vashishta Muni, Indra Pradumya, Pradama, Treta, Grita Samada, Ashita, Kakshivan, Gautama, Atri, and Kaushika. Sudarshan, Kashyap Muni, Angirasa, all accompanied by their disciples. All accompanied. It's not like I am going and you disciples stay behind. No, all of them. And all these great sages, they were communicating through their minds. At that time, there was no cell phone or no internet so that we can connect. And and they were accompanied by disciples also. And it's not like a guru said, okay, I am leaving, I'm going, and disciples you stay behind. But they wanted their disciples also to benefit from the advice of Bhismadeva. So Bhismadeva, he gave a very lengthy speech. And while lying on the bed of arrows, Bhismadeva welcomed all the great sages who went to see him. From around the universe they went. So even Brihaspati, the chief priest of demigod from heaven, went to observe the departure of Bhismadeva. He was such an exalted personality, and even being unable to stand, Bhismadeva welcomed them properly. He knew the art of Vaishnava etiquette according to time, place, and circumstances. Thus, by his manner of receiving them graciously through his mind and soul, all of the great personalities were satisfied. Srila Prabhupada gave nice explanation on how to receive any guest coming to our place. First, we should welcome anyone coming to our place nicely. Then we should give a seat and then offer a glass of water, and by sweet words, inquire about their well-being. Here, Bhismadeva mentally welcomed everyone. And he welcomed everyone, even Lord Krishna was sitting before Bhismadeva, and Bhismadeva worshipped him duly. Then he addressed the Pandavas He addressed the Pandavas and telling them that they were very pious, and even the Lord Krishna was with them, still he suffered so much. And it was the Lord's will to test them. It's like gold. When gold is put into the fire and shaped into fine jewelries, the Pandavas were put through so much pain, but they never left the righteous path. So Bhismadeva also told the Pandavas that Krishna, who they believed to be their cousin, the son of their maternal uncle, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shri Krishna also paid his obeisances to Bhismadeva as the Pandavas did when they arrived near Bhismadeva. And in text 24 of Canto 1, chapter 9, Bhismadeva requested the Lord to wait until he leaves his body. And here it is said that some Acharya commented that Bhismadeva and the Lord, they were communicating through eyes contact. So I will try to say what Bhismadeva was saying. He says, Sadaiva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam. So he explained that Bhismadeva is saying, Sadaiva Devo, O Lord of the Lords, please wait. So Krishna is asking, till when? Eye contact. So he said, Kalevaram yad vadidam hinomi aham. Until I leave this Kalevaram, this body, please wait. Then Krishna asked, how do you want me to wait? He said, Prasannaha sarunalo chalan lasam. So wait for me, just wait for me until I want you to be like smiling. You should be smiling and waiting for me. And he says, how? Krishna asked, how do you want me? He says, Mukham bhajo dhyana patas chaturbhuja. I want you to be with your four-handed, chaturbhuja. I want to see you in that form, because that is a form that he was worshipping the Lord in that form. So here we can see the translation is, may my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face with eyes as red as the rising sun is smiling, kindly await for me at that moment when I quit this material body. That was his request to the Lord. And even though Bhismadeva, he knew he was going to attain the Vaikuntha Loka, still he wanted to see the Lord in that form. And when he requested, the Lord exhibited that form just for him, because he was worshipping Lord Narayana in that four-handed form. So thus he concentrated upon the Lord and sanctifies his mind. So while leaving his body after a lengthy explanation to Yudhishthira about different dharmas, Bhismadeva offered nice prayers to the Lord Shri Krishna, which is known as Bhismastoti. Very beautiful prayers, which we just heard Karuna gracefully singing that. I tried, but I could not do it properly. So in his prayers, he described the beauty of the Lord. So while the Lord was helping Arjuna on the battlefield, how the Lord's bodies resemble the bluish color of the Tamala tree, Tamala Varanam. And also with his yellow dress and lotus-like face, his flowing hair and beads of sweat on his face, with whip in his hand on Arjuna's chariot. So he described elaborately the dealings of the Lord on the battlefield. And at the end, demigods appeared in the sky and showered flowers on him, reminding him that it was time, that the time has approached for him to go now. And then Bhismadeva, he sang the last one. And only that part, only Bhismadeva and Sanjaya could see, and obviously Lord Krishna could see that also, could witness the demigods showering flower on him and telling him that it's time to leave now. And again in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, text 43, Vyasadeva wrote here, Sutta uvacha Krishna evam bhagavati mano bhagdrishti vrittabhi atmani atmanam aveshya su antasya va uparamat. So it's saying, Sutta Goswami said that thus Bhismadeva merged into the super soul, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions. And thus he became silent and his breathing stopped. And when his breathing stopped, and the text 44 goes on to say that knowing that Bhismadeva had merged into the unlimited and eternity of the Supreme Absolute, all the present, all who were present there, they became silent, like birds at the end of the day. And everyone was like so silent, just like Bhismadeva stopped breathing and he became silent. So I will stop here. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments or questions, please go ahead. Haribol.
Very well presented, Maji. Very good.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you.
Mataji.
Thank you for appreciating. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's a lot of nice information. Some information I didn't know. So very, very good. Thank you so much.
So Prabhuji, I didn't go into detail because I'm not qualified. First, second, if we go into detail, it will take weeks. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much for appreciating and giving me the opportunity.
Yeah. Aruna?
Yes, lots of little things that I didn't know. I've learned today. Very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you for attending. Otherwise, I would be talking in the void, right?
Always here, but not seeing.
Kamakshi?
Well done. Yes, well done, Mataji.
Thank
There are
you.
lots of things I have learned as well. In the beginning, I was a bit not confused, but I couldn't get my head round. But it made sense as the story went on. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
Haribol.
welcome. Haribol.
Krishnavani?
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It was nicely presented. I get a lot of information and knowledge.
Thank you for your appreciation. Thank you.
Sitaram?
Hare Krishna, Mataji Prabhu. It's
Hare
very
Krishna.
nice. It's
Hare
mind blowing.
Sitaram?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Very nice presentation. I've learned
Thank
a lot.
Thank you. I'm happy you learned something at least. But as I said, there are lots of detail and it will take a long time. So I limited it for like an hour or so. I don't even know how long, but I'm very glad that everyone has learned something today. Even when I didn't know a lot, when I was doing my search or I was reading, I learned a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
And as Nabi Prabhu said the other time, when we try to say something, we learn from it also.
Yeah. Have to learn more. Because there's so many things go around it as well. So very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Haribol,
Priyansh,
Nabi. Well done,
Priyansh, what do you
Mataji.
want to say? Oh, sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
No, Haribol, Hare Krishna. No, it's okay. It's wonderful narration of the pastimes of Bhismadeva and Krishna, and so wonderful. It's like I was watching the Mahabharata, you know, and when I watched that part is so powerful and emotional as well.
Very
There's so
emotional,
much-
you know.
So
Yesterday I was
much to
trying
learn
to.
from.
Okay.
Go on.
Yesterday I was trying to sing this Bhisma Stuti. Actually, when I'm singing it, I can do it nicely. But when I'm in front of this camera, I cannot. So I got emotional and it's stuck in my throat. I couldn't come out.
Yeah,
Because
that,
when we sing this, really, when we understand the words from it, it really makes us emotional.
that's powerful. Yeah, I think. Well, thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and wonderful. Come on, Riansh will complete the story as well.
Yes.
Well done.
He's fun, you know, he interacts and he's fun. I love him.
Yeah, we all love him.
Mhm.
Okay, so we can, unless there's anybody else, we can go to the Nishinga Kavach. Let me find it. So tomorrow, just to let everybody know, we're going to start a little early, 3 o'clock UK time, so half an hour earlier if you can join us. And Karuna Bandar, can we do the Gita, Gopi Gita? Is that possible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Great, great. Brilliant. Let me just, oh yeah, it has to come out of this first. Oh, let me stop the recording as well.